Things got heated between New Jersey Congresswoman LaMonica McIver and acting ICE Director Todd Lyons. This is at yesterday's hearing. Watch this.
Let me ask you some questions that you may be able to answer. Mr. Lyons, do you consider yourself a religious man?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, how do you think Judgment Day will work for you with so much blood on your hands?
I'm not going to entertain that question.
Oh, okay, of course not. Do you think you're going to hell, Mr. Lyons?
I'm not going to entertain.
Of course not.
Oh, dear. It's important to note that McIver was charged with assaulting law enforcement at a Newark immigration facility last year. Former acting ICE Director Jonathan Fahey joins me now. I think those were incendiary comments. What's your reaction?
It's almost like the Democrats always look for a new low on these types of, on this ICE issue, and it's really remarkable in so many ways. But I think one thing that's really important here, you know, the Democrats always portray themselves as virtuous on this issue, suggesting that enforcing the immigration law in and of itself is immoral. But if that's really their position, it's truly cynical that she's in Congress and they aren't seeking to change the law, and she should have the moral courage to say we want open borders and we want mass amnesty, because that's essentially the Democrats' position. So to the extent there's any moral hierarchy on this, they're certainly at the lowest level because they believe enforcing their own law is immoral, but they have no courage to change it. But again, the rhetoric is so beyond the pale, and it's almost like, where is the bottom? Maybe this is it, but they'll probably seek a new bottom soon.
Yeah, that's no way to take the moral high ground, in my opinion. All right, Jonathan, ICE is cracking down on people who follow ICE cars. There's been some outrage from the left about this. And my question is, what's wrong with tracking the people who are maliciously tracking you? What's wrong with that?
Yeah, exactly. They should be tracked, and these people that are impeding ICE from doing their jobs should be arrested because it's a violation of federal law. And what's really important about this, it's not just the interaction between these protesters or trackers and ICE, but if they are alerting people that ICE is about to engage in an operation, they're putting other people in the community in danger, as well as law enforcement in danger, by giving someone maybe a heads up who's a violent criminal that ICE is out there to get them. So ICE should really be all over these people. When they're impeding ICE, it's a violation of law. It's far greater. It's far more than just standing up and expressing your views, which the First Amendment is. It is impeding law enforcement, and they should be tracked. They should be stopped.
I got one more for you, Jonathan. The president doesn't like sanctuary states or cities. He says sanctuary cities are helping criminals. Watch this.
Lindsey Graham is really hot on getting rid of sanctuary cities. I'm backing him 100%. Yeah. We got to do it. We're hot, and it's sort of the Security Act, you could call it, but we have to do it. They are protecting criminals. Those states could hand those people over to us. Their crime would go down. We'd get them out of the country. They're sanctuaries for criminals. They have they have killers. They have drug lords. They have Tren de Aragua all over the place.
Jonathan, can the feds end sanctuary status in cities and states, or does it have to be the states that do it themselves?
The best way for the federal government to attack these sanctuary cities, I believe, is things like withholding funding from them, particularly with any sort of new legislation. Say funding can only go to states that cooperate with ICE or cities that cooperate with ICE. I think that would be the most effective way, in addition to what President Trump is saying, which is just basically calling them out. And it's really one of the biggest reveals about where the Democratic Party is on this overall immigration issue, because as you and your viewers know, sanctuary cities are keeping criminal illegal aliens, meaning illegal aliens that committed additional crime. They'd rather keep them in the country than turn them over to ICE, which most Americans think, rightfully so, is utterly insane. But it just shows how committed the Democrats are to all illegal aliens staying in the country. So President Trump is right to call them out, but the best, most effective way is finding ways to take the money away, because, you know, in life and in government, the money speaks volumes more so than a lot of other things.
Yeah, if you withdraw the money, there'll be a big court fight, but it's a good statement of intent, isn't it? Jonathan Fahey, thanks for joining us, sir. We'll see you again soon. Thanks.
Thank you.